let's look at preparing a direct labor budget. This one's very, the direct labor budgets are pretty straightforward here. So the following is production data for Batista Incorporated here in Exercise 8.7. So they expect to produce 75,000 units in quarter one, 63,000 in quarter two, 89,000 in quarter three, and 103,000 in quarter four. Assuming each unit requires 0.75 hours of direct labor to be produced, and each direct labor hour costs $20 per direct labor hour, prepare a direct labor budget for each quarter and the entire year. So this budget is much less complicated than the material purchases budget we went over in exercise 8.6. Again, notice the heading, name of the company, name of the budget. In this case, it's forward looking, it's for the year ending, blah, blah, blah. We have it on a per quarter basis, and then we have our total column as well. We start with, again, units to be produced. Material purchases budget, direct labor budget, always start with the same line item, and this line item you would get from your production budget. So we expect to produce 75,000 units in Q1, 63,000 in Q2, 89,000 in Q3, 103,000 in Q4. So for the entire year, we expect to produce about 330,000 units. Each requires 3/4 of an hour to produce one unit. So we want to convert from units to be produced. We want to figure out how many hours we're going to need to fulfill that production. So if we multiply the two together, we see in quarter one, we're going to need 56,250 direct labor hours. Q2, we're going to need 47,250 direct labor hours. Q3, we multiply the two together, we're going to need about 66,750 direct labor hours. And then for Q4, we'll need about 77,250 direct labor hours. So for the entire year, we need to budget for 247,500 direct labor hours. And if the assumption is that each hour costs on average $20 a piece, now we can estimate what is our direct labor cost going to be in each of those quarters, and we simply just multiply the two together. So for Q1, the 56,250 direct labor hours we expect to incur times the $20 per hour, we expect to spend about 1.125 million in direct labor costs in Q1. For Q2, we multiply the two together. We expect to spend about 945,000 in direct labor costs. Q3, if we multiply the two together, we expect to spend about 1.335 million in direct labor. And then finally in Q4, we multiply the two together, we'll spend about 1.545 million in direct labor. So for the entire year, just a shade under 5 million we expect to spend in direct labor. And again, by doing it in this format, we can see when we're going to spend that about 5 million in direct labor and how much in each quarter. And that'll help us budget out our expenditures and our resources much more accurately, as opposed to if I just got this information. It's a lot harder to budget out this information if we know there's some seasonality to our business, because look at the bottom lines here. We get very different numbers in Q2 compared to Q4. Look at that. That's a $600,000 difference in expenditures related to direct labor. I would not know that if I just saw this information. So having a more detailed presentation for any budget, including the direct labor budget, gives me more information so I can be much more strategic and smarter with my resources and my planning out for the next fiscal year.